Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Leaders Uncut. If you have been there already, if not, welcome to Leaders Uncut, where we feature incredible leaders just like Aleya Harris, who is here with us today. And Aleya is a strategic storytelling consultant. Hello, Aleya. It's so good to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me, Catherine. It is a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. I can't wait for you to share your story. My God, what an incredible story of resilience. I mentioned resilience a lot, but of the fact that anything is possible in life when you put your mind to it. So I'd love you to start by giving us a bit of your background and then what you are doing with your company right now, what you're focusing on. I think that would be a great way to start this podcast.
Absolutely. So my background is as a marketer, a storyteller, and a private chef, amongst all kinds of things. And I've had a loop-de-loop kind of journey through being a private chef and being laid off twice and being the head of marketing for North America for one of the largest corporate food service and facilities management companies in the world. And now I am here as a marketing executive as well as a strategic storytelling consultant. And saying I'm a strategic storytelling consultant is really just a fancy way of saying that I take stories and help other people use them to lead, sell, and stand apart.
Okay. All right.
When you connect with other humans, those things naturally happen. So storytelling is my excuse to get you to be connected with other humans, which for me is a joy.
Okay, well, you have obviously a talent for this. So of course, you are an award-winning speaker. You've been speaking all over the world. So tell us about your specialty. Do you work with specific people? Do you work with anyone? What is your perfect target audience?
So because I translate storytelling through different channels, I have a couple of target audiences. The first one is entrepreneurs who are looking to use professional public speaking to grow their businesses. And I do that through my program called Spark the Stage. I also have a best-selling book, also called Spark the Stage, available on Amazon, that is based on my program. And the program has an on-demand course, and most people finish in about 6 weeks or less. But then you get 12 months of me, not all to yourself, but you can pretend like it's all to yourself. Where it's a group coaching and then Slack channel. So that's the first. And then the second is through my consulting company, the Evolution Collective, which you can find at evolutioncollective.com.
Okay.
I can be the person that is helping you with your marketing differentiation story. So the ideal client for that is marketing leads, CMOs, heads of marketing. I could also help you with leadership and culture stories and storytelling, using storytelling frameworks to do that. And then the ideal client for that is HR leads, learning and development leads. And then I also work with sales teams, and there's a lot of storytelling in sales. Most of it is like, how do I structure this call to get the money? But right now there's a dearth, a vacuum of trust out in the world. So what I do is I use storytelling to help people become more authentic and build better relationships, which leads to faster sales and more retention.
It's so important. So important. So you mentioned, I'd love to stop there because you just mentioned something that I think needs to be pointed out a little bit more and talked about. You mentioned trust. There's a vacuum of trust. Why do you think that is? And why, because of that, would companies or individuals need to take a serious look at how they position themselves, because it may not be relevant anymore? So would you mind addressing that?
Yes, absolutely. So when people are always relevant. So let's start there. Like, it's so funny to me that we are always, as a society and as human beings, looking for the newest, coolest, latest, greatest. And thinking that that's the way forward, when often it's not. Often it's about going to the oldest, most overlooked, most boring thing, which is the fact that you're hanging out with other human beings on this planet and you should probably know how to talk to them. It's not about, oh, AI this, or about, well, here's the structure and that. It's really about getting down to the core of human emotion.
Yeah.
And how to connect with other people over shared experience. Because although, I have a postpartum depression story, but I can use that to connect with people who've never had children before because of the shared feelings of being lost or sad or overwhelmed or at rock bottom or at my breaking point or confused.
Yeah.
People have felt those things for a variety of different reasons in a variety of different ways. So it really is all about realizing that humanity is the oldest trick in the book, and it still works.
And that's beautiful. And you're so right. I think what's important is a lot of people try to emulate something they're not, because they think it's the way to be, or maybe because they like somebody who's been very successful and they try to be just like him or her. But the problem is when you do this, you can be the best actor in the world, it does not feel real because it is not you. And I think what's really important is to, first of all, understand who you are, what it is you love doing, what is really your qualities that you can bring to the world, but what you love doing, your passion. Because when you are real and true about this, then the whole energetic field has a tendency to change. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny because people talk about your energy and your energy field as if it's something that when you pay attention to it, it's there. And when you don't pay attention to it, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really, affect your life. And that's just not true. Your energy and your energy field is there at all times, interacting with, shaping and controlling, if you want to use the word control, which I use loosely, your entire life and the interactions and the thoughts and the way that you participate in this life experience. So when you find a way to intentionally tap into the connection point between other humans, you're consistently and intentionally raising your energy to a point where you are now more open to opportunities, possibilities, blessings that you wouldn't have been before.
That is so very true. I see that too often, where I always tell people, accept yourself as you are because you are perfect as you are. And don't try to be someone else because you can't fool us. You can't fool anyone. It shows eventually. And sometimes they wonder, why am I not successful? And I don't want to tell them that's because you don't know who you are, but I tell them maybe it is time to take a deep introspection of who what you think you can do to this world that would benefit the world, but that would make you happy. What makes you happy? Because that changes everything.
Yes, that changes everything. And then you said, I don't want to tell them that they don't know who they are. I'm going to tell them that. So, Catherine, you're not going to say it, but
you will say it. Yeah.
It's not that they don't know and can't know, like it's some unknowable thing.
Yeah.
It's more just that they've forgotten, if we want to soften.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They've spent so much of their time being their anxiety, being their disease, being their limiting beliefs, being the pressures and judgments that others and themselves have placed on themselves. And they spend so little time being their actual self, the self that is fully connected, the part that knows. I call it your radically authentic self. Some people call it your soul. Some people call it just your highest good. Some people call it your internal best friend. Whatever you want to call it, that is your true self underneath all of that other stuff. And when people realize that, that's when they can say, I know myself. And we're all on this planet, I think, just trying to do our darndest to be that person the majority of the time.
Is your marketing making an impact? Are you reaching the right audience? Is your messaging truly connecting? Are you maximizing your return on investment? At Slice Marketing, we use AI-powered insights to fine-tune your targeting, optimize your messaging, design high-converting websites, and craft content that inspires, entertains, and educates, or to amplify your brand's impact. Sometimes a small adjustment can create big results. Let's chat, no strings attached. Email us at catherine.oaks@slicemarketing.com or visit our website. And it is very hard, and sometimes it's also scary. Let's get back. I think it's very hard sometimes to face the truth, or to be willing to uncover, like you said, your higher self, because it may bring you something that will require you to make some change, and people don't like to change. Inherently, human beings do not like change, but we are forced to change. We are forced to be in uncomfortable situations if we want to grow. It cannot happen without growth. And look how diamonds are made.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's how it works.
You need to have the pressure, but it's interesting that you brought up that analogy. And I realize we're talking about an inanimate object, but a coal turns into diamonds, or carbon, I think, turns into diamonds under pressure. Yeah. And I think heat too. I'm not a scientist, but let's just say it's under pressure.
Yeah.
And that's what we're using as an analogy for life. Yeah. And it has to happen anyways, regardless of the pathway. A diamond knows that it has to be under pressure in order to be a diamond. But it has a lot while it's waiting to become a diamond that it can make the choice. It could sit there and be like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. Oh my God, the pressure. Oh my God, this is horrible. Oh, I hate it. Oh, somebody else going through this pressure. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. Or it can be like, yep, there's pressure. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to breathe through it if I was not an inanimate object. And eventually I'll be a diamond. Yeah. Either way, the process is the same. But it's the how that's going on in your mind that's determining what the process feels like to you or not.
Mm-hmm. It's so very true. I mean, we have a saying in French, I cannot translate it because I cannot find the right translation, but we say that la vie n'est pas un long fleuve tranquille, which means that life is not just supposed to be floating on a slow and a smooth river. It's not like that. If you really want to expand and learn and enjoy and reach the highest levels, you have to have a little bit of tension here and there. And I call them the growth periods. And sometimes I have so many of them. I said, okay, God, can you just give me a break for a few minutes? I don't want a growth period right now. I want a calm period. I'll take another growth period in 6 months, but give me a break, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. You're like, I don't know when I placed this particular order, but I'd like to change my order. Thank you so much.
That's right. Oh my God, that is so funny. So anyway, I think these are important points to mention and talk about. So when people are interested in speaking with you, I mean, what's the process? Where do you start? How long does it take? Can you give us an idea?
Well, it depends on who we're talking about. The easiest person that gets access to me is that entrepreneur who wants to be a speaker, because all they need to do is go to aleyaharris.com/spark and click schedule a call, and you'll be speaking to me within a couple of days.
Okay.
So
perfect.
Easy peasy.
Okay.
And then on that call, we'll decide if it's a good time and a good fit for you to sign up for the Spark the Stage program, which it's funny. Yes, on the surface and on all the marketing material and in the actual course, it will teach you how to become a professional speaker who gets paid whether the organizer pays you or not. Okay. But I actually have had people sign up for the course who, maybe want to speak, maybe not, but they've interacted with me in other ways, and they've signed up really just to be able to interact with me and to get closer to their radically authentic self, because that's how I teach people to become speakers. It's the internal work that we do. So they're looking for that internal work as well, which probably shouldn't be saying this, but because of the pricing, it's a lot cheaper than signing up with me for like one-on-one coaching, which I rarely do nowadays. So people sign up for group coaching and then end up, sometimes the group coaching sessions only have like 1 or 2 people. So then they get like private coaching.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I know a lot of people are still very careful with money right now, and something like that can open doors. I think it would be very valuable.
I think it's very valuable, and I probably shouldn't tell you that, but somebody asked me, that's part of the course. She goes, "Did you make a mistake? Am I supposed to be paying you more money?" I said, "No, I promise I didn't make a mistake. I just like it that you pay once and then I get to give you all of me without holding back." So that's what happens inside of Spark the Stage, the course. If you are an HR lead, a sales lead, or a marketing lead looking to use storytelling to create better leaders, create better cultures, or create faster sales, then go to theevolutioncollective.com and you can sign up there for a call. Click the button that says schedule a call. I try to make it as easy as humanly possible for people to get on the phone with me.
Yeah, and that's important. We need to know that. And because a lot of people are looking for direction right now, with new technologies, we feel so much pressure, and we realize maybe our value proposition is not working as well as it should be working. And how do we fix that? So I see a lot of people and companies question all of this, and they realize that some edits, upgrades, modifications need to happen in order for them to gain that value and that trust and that interest again. It happens very often.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that trust is, I almost feel like we're living like a post-trust world, right? Trust, like I wasn't around and kicking in the 1950s, but when you look at movies and when you listen to your grandparents or your parents, you start thinking like, oh, trust just seemed to have been the default, right? Like we just trust and are trustworthy. And now it seems like it is more rare. It is the exception to the rule to find someone and something that is trustworthy.
It's very hard.
It is very hard. And so the more that you can use storytelling, or truthfully whatever means are available to you, to highlight and to demonstrate that you are trustworthy, the more that you position yourself as, unfortunately, a rare commodity.
I know, and that's a challenge I get with. I'm totally there with you, because I have been burnt many times, and then when you are burnt many times, trusting is more difficult. And when people suffer a lot, of course, trusting is more difficult, because they have a tendency to build walls around them. And when you have those walls, it's hard to even see clearly, to even give a chance to those that are actually trustworthy to come into your life. And I think that's important to remember that, because at the end of the day, we are all human. We are humans. We are all vulnerable. We all have faults. And it is okay. We're not supposed to be perfect. Perfect is boring anyway. Why do you want to be perfect?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, be yourself, make mistakes. It's okay, as long as it's not with the intention to hurt someone. It's okay to make mistakes, because we are here to learn, and we learn the best by making mistakes. And be okay, talk about those mistakes. Don't think that you have to be perfect in front of everyone, because that is unreal. That is unrealistic, and that is not believable. It cannot work.
No, it can't. It really can't.
Yeah.
And even I would go a little bit further and have you try, at least, this is easier said than done, I'm very aware, try to realize that your mistakes are what make you perfect.
Yeah.
Right? Like the mistakes are what make the journey fun and exciting and wonderful. And if you were just knew everything that was going to happen, and every single day was the same and was in and out over and over, the same thing, you wouldn't want that. That doesn't sound fun.
It's not fun. It's uninteresting. And then another thing I think I'd love you to address is, we live in a very uncertain world. People may have felt, especially when you're older, that there used to be more certainty, right? When you started working with a company, you were there for 30 years, you had that security, you didn't worry too much. All of this is gone. I mean, there's no certainty. But when you fight, thinking you can build that certainty again, and if you don't have it, if you have the mindset that if you don't have it, you cannot be happy,
right?
it's self-destruction. You have to change that perspective and understand that we live in a world of change. We live in a world of uncertainty, and we have to learn to evolve within that new framework, because it may be scary, it may be challenging, but it's what it is. And when you accept it, it's okay, actually. You end up being okay. What do you think of that, Aleya?
I think that acceptance in general is really the answer to success, right? Like, if you can accept yourself, if you can accept the present moment. I just got my therapist giving me that advice. Like, she told me, you're so frustrated because you're so goal oriented. You don't like where you are so much that you've clouded your current blessings with your future goals. And I'm like, ouch, but true, but ouch.
Yeah, that's so very true.
Yeah. And if I could just accept where I am, which has been my goal since she said that, she just said it a couple days ago, so it's a work in progress. But if I could be more accepting, it wouldn't actually matter what's going on around me. I would accept that it's okay. Yeah. So when you talk about acceptance, I'm all for that. I'm all behind that. I think that is where the secret to happiness lives.
It is. And when you learn, I know for me, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. And when you're an entrepreneur, you live in a constant state of questioning, uncertainty. Am I doing the right thing? Can I do it? Am I strong enough? Am I smart enough? My God, what's going to happen tomorrow? I'm not sure I'm going to have a paycheck, right? So you live in that turmoil almost all the time. So if you don't find a way to calm down and accept it, you go crazy. Yeah. And this is why so many people give up, because we actually do go crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We go crazy. We have depression, we have anxiety, then we blame ourselves and judge ourselves for having said depression and anxiety. And then we have this self-propagating cycle that is caused by judgment and fear and a misunderstanding of the way success is supposed to look, which is not a straight line. It's loop-de-loops, and it's doubling backs, and it's wonder that we get to experience over and over again that we don't often acknowledge as sometimes of those bad things, quote unquote, are really great things.
Yes, when you look back, sometimes you realize, oh my God, I got so mad and nervous about this, and actually it was something that really helped me get to the next level in my life, right? So that's so true.
Yep, absolutely.
So wonderful. So I think people know what you're doing, what your strengths are, your background, how you can help them, and where to contact you. So now I always ask my guests to share a story of resilience, something they had to overcome in their life that taught them valuable lessons that you'd be okay to share with my audience, because it's always very inspirational to hear this type of stories. So what would that be, Aleya?
Oh, there's so many that I could whip out. But the one that comes to mind right now is my journey with postpartum depression. So I have a beautiful little girl. Her name is Ruby Coral. She is smart and funny and adorable, and I love her, and she's 2 years old. And I had the best pregnancy. I was super cute. I only gained 16 pounds. I was all belly with a little perky little booty, and life was good. And then as soon as I went into labor, and I had a rather traumatic birth story, which I will tell at another time, it was like life got dark. And although she's been adorable pretty much from the get-go. Even nurses in the delivery room said she was cute. So this is very much a unbiased opinion as her mother telling you this, right? So I have this beautiful girl, but I couldn't really enjoy it because I just felt like someone had pulled my plug. And at the same time, if my plug wasn't pulled, then I was also feeling like my heart was running a race, and I was panting and running underneath this anxiety, right? So I luckily, there was therapy and there was, lots of conversations and group therapy that went into it. However, it wasn't until that I got in November on antidepressants that I realized, whoa, one, why didn't I do this sooner? These things are great. I actually felt like a normal human. Two, I had, yes, been going through postpartum depression, but also it made me realize that for the majority of my life, I actually was dealing with high functioning postpartum depression and anxiety. So it wasn't just because of Ruby. In fact, Ruby in so many ways has been a blessing. But having her was a blessing because it caused me to go down a road that felt really dark and really horrible, but it was a road to healing. And often that's what the road to healing feels like in the beginning, because if I didn't have what was very so obvious as postpartum depression, I would never have been diagnosed with just generalized depression. And I would have never gotten help. And I would have just thought it was what everybody dealt with and how everybody felt. And everybody feels stressed.
Yeah.
But it was way more than that.
Wow. Interesting how that experience really allowed you to uncover something that was really probably hindering you from exploring and expanding yourself fully. But it came up as a true blessing. That's just a beautiful story. Yes.
As a true blessing. And now it's like, oh, I'm so grateful for one, therapists and drugs and my daughter and for all of, the help that I've gotten. But I'm also really, really grateful for spirit that never left me, even if I felt alone.
Yeah.
Even if I felt like I couldn't hear what was happening, it was just that everything else was so loud. And I always joke when I say, God is a gentleman or gentlewoman. Well, they'll never raise their voice, but they'll wait and they'll always be there. And that was the beautiful lesson I learned, was that even if I couldn't hear spirit, they could hear me. They were listening the whole time. And I had a whole host of beings of light on my side, guiding me, directing me, shaping me, and loving me through what was the most difficult time in my life. And I'm still not 100%, backing at it. And I don't know if I ever will be that. Well, let me rephrase. I know I won't ever be the same person that I was before, but now, for the first time, realizing the blessing that I've been given, I actually have the hope that I will be better. It won't be some poor man's version of old Aleya. It will be a richer, more robust, and wonderful version of new Aleya.
And you know what? Look at what you just did. You just shared that story, and that story that is, I'm sure, very relevant to a lot of women out there. It's those moments can be very heart-wrenching. You don't understand them. But like you said, first of all, we're never alone. We have to understand that. There's a plethora of energy and spirits and angels around us at all times. So I think when you understand and then you truly believe it, it also helps go through those times of challenges and uncertainty.
Absolutely.
And then we expand again and we learn. And I'm sure your little girl, now 2-year-old, I'm sure you look at her and you realize, oh my God, it's just a gift that is also making you a stronger and more meaningful and more powerful woman altogether. Yes. Right?
And the beautiful thing is that she won't grow up with a mom who deals with high functioning depression and anxiety.
Yeah. Yes.
She's gonna not learn those behaviors as normal. Yeah. She will get the blessing of breaking a generational trauma issue that she actually, was her own blessing through that, because she allowed me to see it so that she could change her own life. It's just really a circular, beautiful moment.
I think she chose you because she had to teach you that. So she came through you to teach you that. Aleya needed to hear that lesson. So here I come.
Yeah, here I come. Here I am, Mom.
Now is your time, Mom. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. And we're going to share your story. And everyone, please share the video with Aleya. Let people know what she's doing. She's a wonderful woman with a great heart and beautiful passion. And she can make a difference in your life. She can make a difference in your business, also expansion, because now is the time where we have to take a very serious look as to how we present ourselves. What do we say? How do we build that trust that seems to have been dissipated over the years? How do we gain the attention of the right people? Because that too is important. We cannot just attract everyone. We really have to understand that. So someone like her can really help you determine all of this, confirm maybe what you're doing, and also give you some ideas as what you potentially could do with your business that you have not thought of. She is very creative and a beautiful, kind, passionate woman. I just am so blessed to have you here today.
Thank you. And that's so kind of you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blessing to be here to share my story and to have this really wonderful conversation with you.
All right, well, thanks again all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and we will see you next time.